Welcome to Know Your Member talk show Pravasi Bhushan. Guys, today we are delighted to have with us Pravasi Bhushan, a seasoned leadership coach and learning strategist, and the founder of Growth with Gyan. Pravasi has been instrumental in empowering organizations to transfer their capability, development ecosystem, driving growth through innovative, skill-based learning solution. He has also presented his research at Cambridge University and published in top peer-reviewed journals. We are excited to learn more about his journey and the impact of his work. Once again, welcome Pravasi Bhushan.
Thanks, Srinidhi, for having me.
Yeah. So, Pravasi, I have some questions. First, you have a remarkable career journey from leading L&D functions in multiple firms to know coaching leaders and building learning strategies that align with business growth. Your transition reflects a strong passion for enabling people and organizations to unlock potential. Now, could you share what inspired you to take this part to leadership and coaching, learning and strategy?
So, Srinidhi, and one of the things that I say very often is learning is my ikigai. So I love to learn on my own, and I help, as you rightly said, enable others to attain their potential. In the last few years, specifically around COVID 2019 onwards, I started interacting with a lot of folks during conferences, seminars, and what I realized is a lot of them, they have reached a point in their career where they are looking for guidance and support, which in many cases they don't have access to. And the other piece is at that point in time, I was part of a very large organization and had access to, and I have been very fortunate all throughout my career that I have had bosses who have been very kind in coaching and guiding me. So this is my way of giving it back. So leadership coaching, leadership development is all about how I can help people achieve their full potential, especially when they have reached a certain point in their career.
Yes. Your research on the use of technology in capability development has been published in top peer reviewed journals, and you were even invited to present your work at Cambridge University. It's an incredible achievement. Such recognition highlights both depth and relevation in your work. So, how has this exposure to academic research and global platform influenced the way you design and implement learning strategies for organizations today?
So let me start with why I even attempted to take that route, right? And again, I started my research somewhere around 2020. So on a humorous front, COVID had a lot of negative sides to it. But the positive piece that it brought to my life was that I was able to do a lot of these things. So one of the biggest challenges that I was experiencing on my own, as well as when I interacted with my peers in the learning industry, was a lot of people were bringing in technologies. So LMS had been around for a very long time. People were attempting content libraries, other things, but it wasn't having the impact that people wanted or learning leaders wanted these technologies to have, right? So I started looking at what research can tell us, and what I found was that there is very limited research on learning within workplace. So there is a lot of research on how learning happens in educational institutions, schools, colleges, etc. But very few papers are published on how learning happens in workplace, which is very different from school or college, right? In school or college, your
Yeah,
primary job is to learn. You are going there just to learn. When you come to
exactly.
workplace, learning becomes the 101st thing on your to-do list. So how can a learning function inspire folks to bring it from 101st position to, let's say, in the top five, so that continuous learning happens, is something which was a gap. And that's where I was like, okay, if no one's done it, let me try and do it. That's how my learning journey or my research journey started. And yes, 4 years, 5 years down the line, I had published papers in top tier journals. I was invited to Cambridge to present my research. What it has done, Srinidhi, is that it has helped me understand learning more deeply, and more importantly, how technology can be an enabler. So a lot of times, what we end up doing is, we come across a new technology and we assume that that technology is going to solve all the problems, which is not the case. Technology always acts as an enabler, at least in my point of view, and what you do with technology is what decides, or decides whether it will be a success or not. And that, by the way, is not specific to one particular technology. It can be anything, including AI. How you use the technology is way more important than the features of the technology itself. So my research helped me understand the basic foundations of how humans want to use technology. So a lot of my research focuses on technology adoption, which has been studied in other domains. And then I've tried to bring it in to learning to understand how humans want to use technology to learn. So that's how my research has influenced the work that I do.
Yes. So growth with GAN stands out for its main focus on skill-based framework and scientifically grounded learning solution. It's not just about training, but about building ecosystem that truly performance improvement. So, what was your vision when you founded Growth with GAN, and how do you define its core mission?
So, two things. One, as you rightly said, we are a completely evidence-based, science-based organization. So anything that we do, we look at, is there some research to support it? If not, then can we do that research to support it? So one of the things that we realized is that learning is not a single event. So you cannot. So if I give you an example, let's say somebody wants to build their assertiveness skills, right? You cannot attend a 2 day or a 6 day workshop and become assertive. It's an ongoing journey. It happens over a period of time. And that's the reason we talk about the ecosystem. We help organizations build ecosystem wherein learners are able to pick skills that are needed for them to do well in their job. The second part that you spoke about is what's our core vision. So Growth with Gyan focuses on mid-sized organizations, Srinidhi. So, something that I realized again during my interactions with a lot of peer learning leaders was that large organizations can afford a CLO. They can afford a large learning team. They can get people who understand learning very well to look into how skilling can happen. Mid-sized organizations, and when I say mid-sized organizations, I'm essentially looking at a bracket of, let's say, 500 people to probably 3,000, 5,000 folks. A lot of these organizations, what they try and do is they try and offer learning resources to their employees. However, they may not have a dedicated learning function, or even if they have it, they may not have a very senior person in there. And it makes complete sense, right? It may not give you the return on investment if you hire someone who is very senior. So our whole approach is that we work with these organizations as an extended arm. We usually work with organizations over a very long period of time. And when I say a very long period of time in the learning world, 6 months, 12 months is a fairly long period of time, but that's the kind of association we have with organizations. And our objective is not to just give you a strategy that can work for you. We work with organizations to first identify what are the areas of opportunity or challenges. We provide them a strategy, we work with them to execute the strategy, and we ensure that they are able to measure the impact of whatever changes have been made, right? And any course correction that's needed. So we handhold them throughout the journey so that they get to a point wherein they can become independent. So that's the overall core mission of Growth with Gyan. Work with organizations who may not have dedicated senior learning leaders, uh, give them that kind of experience and exposure at a fractional cost. We don't come on board full time. We come on board as a partner. So we come at a fractional cost compared to a CLO, but you get the best out of it. and you are able to rely on experienced minds who have seen it happen in the world outside.
So, most organizations still rely on traditional learning models, often struggling to link with learning and development, measurable business outcomes. Growth with GAN emphasizes a capability development ecosystem that integrates innovate and impact. My next question is, in what ways does your approach differ from conventional learning and development?
So I wouldn't say we differ because I do know there are organizations which apply a similar framework. However, what many don't do is what we focus on, which is we follow a backward design model, Srinidhi. So you must have come across learning that starts with learning objectives. We start with business objectives. So any client or any organization that we associate ourselves with, we first try and understand what is it that their businesses want to achieve through skilling initiatives. Now, in today's world, majority people talk about the fact that skilled workforce is their differentiator, which is so true. What they want is skilled people. What they don't know is how to ensure or how to support that skilling initiative. So we start with what does business want? Do you need more people in a particular technology? Do you need people to do something better? So, for example, it could be that your people are really good at the functional skills, but they are not able to come across as a consultant in front of a client. All these pieces we try and understand from business heads. That becomes our North Star. That's what we want to achieve. That's what we want to measure our success against. And we work backwards to figure out what is it that it's needed so that people are able to achieve that particular business objective. So all throughout our North Star or our guiding light is business goals. And when you start from there, you automatically tie back every action into something that can be measurable. So be it a certain skill that can impact let's say, the client relationship index, or it could be something wherein people are looking at improving their sales numbers or certification numbers, anything of that sort. We start from what they want to measure as a business and then work backwards and figure out how learning can support it. So that's how we always ensure that the impact is measured in business numbers. One last point, Srinidhi, I'll quickly add, and this again is something that a lot of organizations miss out on, specifically learning functions. We tend to report in terms of, let's say, smiley sheets. XYZ trainer got 4.5 or 4.8 on a scale of 5. All that is great. But if you ask a business head, that number is not actually making any difference to them. The difference that it makes to the business head is, were you able to help a high potential candidate pick skills so that he or she can do the next level of or take care of next level of responsibility. So that's what we focus a lot on.
Okay. Now, I noticed that Growth with GAN has worked with diverse organizations to helping them bridge skill gaps and foster growth. These stories often reveal the real impact behind the framework. So, could you share a success story where your team approach created a significant impact either on performance, culture, or measurable results?
So I'll share an example, which wherein we worked with a client for almost 11, 12 months. This was a IT startup, which was around 500, 400 to 500 people when we were brought on board. They already had a projection that they would be hitting or they will be doubling themselves in 12 months, and probably they would become 300% of themselves in a let's say 18 to 24 months. One particular aspect that they were very focused on was how skilling can support this growth, right? And which is where they had an L&D team, but the L&D team was able to cater to their current requirements and not for the scale that they were looking for. When they brought us in, one of the first things that we did was have these interactions with and we were interacting with CXOs and business heads first to figure out what is it that they are looking for. And that's how we figured out that this is a growth story that they are chasing and how skilling can support it. Right. Then one of the primary challenges that we figured they had was they were still relying on, as you rightly said, on traditional methods of training, which was facilitation or facilitator driven training. Now, one of the biggest challenges with that is it can only happen when people can come together, right? Be it virtual or in person, 10 people, 15 people have to find time to be at one place to undergo a facilitator driven training. Now, what happens is in real world, once people move into client projects, different client projects run at different pace. And specifically, if you are a global organization supporting different geographies, you may be working absolutely different time zones. So a lot of people, their learning journey had stopped right after induction or orientation, because once they moved into client projects, they were not getting the opportunity to come into a particular slot. So first we fixed that. We brought in the use of technology. We brought in a learning management system. We brought in a content library. When we were looking for the content library, we saw or we focused on what is it that this particular organization is looking at. We didn't want to bring in 100 content libraries, right? We wanted to zero in on one because ROI is critical. So we figured out, we worked with business leaders as well as SMEs to figure out what are the domains that we should be focusing on. Then we looked at which content libraries would support those domains the best. Brought on two of those as a test case. Worked with those vendors to ensure that we got licenses to test out these platforms for a month. And then from the two, we zeroed on to one where everyone said that it's serving the purpose. So brought in a content library, brought in LMS, started building digital assets of learning. And what it did was initially there was some sort of a resistance because people were always used to learning through other facilitators, right? But we were able to build a culture wherein people realize that this is giving them a lot of flexibility. The moment I have 2 hours available from whatever I was doing, if I wanted to build a skill, I am able to jump in and learn. So that was something that we did. The other thing we did was to encourage the learning culture of continuous learning and self-driven learning. We created a lot of campaigns. We started, and these campaigns were not that, okay, if you complete this learning, then you will get X badge or so. We did have a badges system, but we went a lot beyond that. We help these people connect the dots to figure out how skilling can help their growth within the organization and as well as a personnel or a professional. We built a skills framework. We were able to show them transparently that, okay, if you are today a software engineer with these skills and you want to become a solution architect, let's say in 5 years, a solution architect needs to have ABC skills, while today you have XYZ. Here is here are the ways in which you can gain or build XYZ skills over a period of time. So if I have an ambition of becoming a solution architect, I can pick that particular path and I can build those skills on my own. What it did was that is what drove the culture of learning. And by the way, this came out from the research that I did, wherein we figured out that people, and today specifically, learners want to learn skills which they themselves can relate to in terms of professional growth. A lot of organizations where we end up going wrong is we tell them what's good for them instead of helping them figure out what's good for them and learning accordingly. So that's how we did it. How did we, and what were the business measures that we were chasing? One of the things that we were looking at was how can 500 1,000 member organization become an industry thought leader. One of the ways, and they were competing with very big names in the market. So one of the ways we found that it can be done is through industry certifications. We created learning journeys and these campaigns around certifications, and we reached a point wherein, in I think 8 to 10 months, this particular organization was world number one in a particular industry certification, wherein they were being known as people who are thought leaders in that domain. We also helped them build an absolutely new practice which was focused on AI. So this is when getting good people in AI becomes is a challenge in the market. We said that, okay, as a learning function, we will give you 40% of what your overall AI practice will be. And we built learning structures in such a way that these people were not only trained on AI, they were made client ready for AI projects. So we supported AI practice, we supported their thought leadership achievement, or the objectives. So this is how we, once again, not just ensure that learning is happening, but learning is supporting business growth and business objectives.
So, the world of work is changing rapidly with AI, automation, and evolving skill needs. Growth with GAN is already focused on creating scalable, future ready solutions that unlock human potential. Looking ahead, how do you see capability development and learning strategies evolving in next 5 to 10 years, and what role will growth with GAN play in shaping the future?
We are living in a very exciting time, Srinidhi. So AI is going to, automation is there. Automation has been around for some time. AI is probably revolutionizing the entire industry, right? Not just learning, but all industries. And it's going to do the same thing for learning as well. So I'll give you a very simple example, and again, something that came from our research. Till let's say even today, a lot of learners, they experience learning based on what has been recommended to them, or what they have chosen on their own. What AI can do is AI can give you real-time personalization. So you start a course, you complete a few, let's say, lessons. The tool or the platform which has AI intelligence will be able to figure out how good you are in that particular topic or domain. And if you are really good, which is as good as your job role requires, then probably the tool will suggest something else for you to invest your time in. Now, this sort of personalization was never possible, or wasn't possible till near few or in the last few months. But probably in another 6 to 12 months, this will become a ground reality for a lot of organizations. A lot of LMSs and LXPs are already saying that they can do this. It depends on if that's getting converted into reality. I'll quickly go back to something that I said earlier, which is AI and what it can do for learning as well as other industries is something that people have to understand that it's an enabler. How you use those features is something which is very important. If you just rely on technology to do everything for you, you may not achieve or the maximum out of it. You need to figure out how you are going to use those features to the best use of your time and effort. So that's how it's going to make a difference. But absolutely, AI is going to change everything the way we are doing today, including how learning happens.
So, we have covered your journey, your vision, and growth with GAN's impact. But sometimes the most valuable insight come from what we haven't asked. Is there anything you would like to share with our GHRC member that I might have missed?
So one, I love the GHRC platform for the simple reason that it's a platform that brings together a lot of HR folks. I get to learn a lot from others. So what I would encourage others to do is, if you haven't joined it, join it. If you have joined it, then start sharing your thoughts a lot more. And the reason I'm saying so is because the more we are able to share, the more we are able to learn from each other. And as I said, learning is my ikigai. So don't stop learning. That's the only thing that will help you sort of evolve yourself to whatever is happening today. So I would encourage everyone to become a continuous learner and share their learning with everyone else.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pravasi, for sharing your journey and insight with us today. It's truly inspiring to see how growth with Gyan is shaping the future of learning and capability development with such an innovative and impactful approach. We at GHRC are proud to have you as a part of our community and look forward to seeing many more success stories from your journey. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Srinidhi.